Good morning, you're very welcome back. Now, recent research has found that Ireland has the highest prevalence of loneliness of all European countries.
Good news, but we're keeping you happy. That's the point. Our next guest has written a book about understanding why so many people struggle. In a world where we're meant to have more and more connections, what is actually going on? Welcome, Dr. Sylvia Kalicinski. Hello, Sylvia. It's lovely to have you. This is your book.
Yes.
Lonely AF.
Yes.
We're not alone in there's an increasing epidemic of loneliness across the world, according to the research. Why is that?
I think more and more we're seeing that loneliness is a silent killer because we don't want to talk about it. It's something that most of us feel embarrassed to admit. And let's face it, most of us were raised by a family that said, you know, don't talk about your feelings, stay quiet, don't be a burden. So I think more and more mixed with not only just the message of don't be a burden, but we feel that it's embarrassing. And also just with this digital age, everything is becoming more individual. And as maybe some people say we're so connected, we're actually experiencing more disconnection than before.
As we say, this is an epidemic.
Yes.
Tell us, why did you decide to write the book?
I decided to write the book because I wanted to rebrand loneliness. So many people, again, are embarrassed to admit it because I was. My story is, I say, I was born into loneliness. My parents immigrated from Poland to the US. Unfortunately, my mother passed away when I was only 2. I was raised by a single dad, far from family, far from resources, and in a country where my father felt othered. And so I saw that from a very young age. And I thought I was the only one. And then later in high school, my father moved to another country and I ended up living alone at 16 and 17 years old. And it was absolutely overwhelming. And I thought it was like this dirty secret that I had to keep, that as if I was the only lonely one. And years later, when I decided to write the book, when I started to talk about it, I realized so many of us have experienced loneliness. And the irony of writing this book, the more I talk about it, not only the less lonely I feel, the less lonely the other person feels, but I'm making the most incredible connections. Yeah. Just coming to Ireland, talking to the cab drivers, people at the restaurant, it's creating this amazing opportunity to connect and talk on a deeper level.
Because, like, we know sociologically, through the millennia, community is what matters.
Yes.
And we do know, and we know from research, that there is this strive to rip communities apart. If you have a greater sense of social isolation, you can be controlled more. You know, there's a lot going on from the social media side of these things. So trying to say to someone, do you feel a bit lonely? That's a very intimate question, isn't it?
Yes, yes. And I wouldn't even recommend asking that because that's too fast, too intimate. But I think one thing to understand is what is really contributing to lonely AF is that we're all busy AF. Most of us are living these hurried lives. We're busy, so we make friends less a priority, family less a priority. We're spending most of our time at work or maybe caring for others. And so I think instead of asking, are you feeling a bit lonely, maybe it's just bringing the attention to connection. Like, just people think that it requires some big grand gesture. Connection are just the little small gestures. It's making eye contact with your barista and saying, this is the most delicious cup of coffee. I can't do this at home. I heard you talking earlier about you having the fancy machine.
Yeah.
You know?
This is the worst cup of coffee I've ever had.
It's going to be
but
bad.
It's connection. But do you think as well that you're talking about social media is a big issue?
Yes.
It's easy to say no nowadays as well. Like back in the day, you kind of set an appointment to meet friends, whatever else. Yes. It's too easy to get home. We've had a long day to just go, I'm wrecked, I'm not coming, or make up an excuse.
Yes, and I think social media gives us this facade or this lie that, I know what's going on in my friend's life because I've seen all her posts and I'm liking them. But you don't realize you haven't sent a message, you haven't talked to this person, you haven't gone out for coffee or for dinner. So I think this idea of being connected through images is missing the communication. So I highly recommend one thing that you can do is just leave your friend a voice note. Hey, I was thinking about you. I saw your post on social media, or I haven't talked to you in a long time.
Yeah.
How are you?
You know, sometimes when that happens, like, I keep on meaning to ring them. I keep on meaning to ring them.
Yeah.
And then it becomes an obstacle because you're like, it's been too long now.
Yes, yes.
Should you just kind of go, it's never too long to kind of reach out?
Never too long. And that's why I recommend leaving a voice note, because people are busy. They may not answer, and then it becomes another, as you said, something that just takes too long.
You're right.
Whenever you're hearing like Ireland, I mean, and it really staggered me when I saw that Ireland is one of the loneliest countries, the loneliest country in Europe.
Yes.
What damage is loneliness doing to people?
it is really affecting our brain health. We have something called the limbic system. So me making eye contact with you, it tells my brain, I'm alive. And when we spend 90% of our time indoors and we don't have that human connection, our brain starts to think something is wrong, I'm not in community, I am more of a threat. And so the body starts to give you negative thoughts, and your brain starts to create thoughts that I would say inspire anxiety, further isolation. So it's really a brain trap. The longer you spend isolated, the worse you feel, the less energy you have to go out, and then it just becomes this vicious cycle. So it also increases cardiovascular health. It also increases chances for stroke. Loneliness is worse than smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
Yeah, like on your actual health, this has a real repercussion.
Yes. People think it's just about the emotions, but your physical body, like your heart needs
connection. It needs it. So if there's someone who's watching in right now, who's like thinking and going, is this loneliness? Maybe I am feeling a little bit lonely, even though they might be surrounded by people. You could be surrounded by people.
Yes.
What are some of the things that you would say to start, like in recognizing what you're feeling and then in maybe doing something about it?
So one of my favorite phrases is name it to tame it. So many of us don't even know we're feeling lonely. So if you're not aware of feeling lonely, maybe you're aware of your irritability. Give it a name. This is irritability.
Okay.
This is sadness. When you name your emotion, you strengthen a bridge from the emotional part of your brain to the rational part of the brain, and it actually helps you feel better. It's also a form of what we call self-validation. Many of us push our feelings down. We have the motto, be strong, carry on.
Yeah.
And we become more and more disconnected from ourselves because we're not even acknowledging something as simple as, that's anger, that's loneliness, or I'm missing my friends. So name it to tame it. That does wonders for your brain health, but it also is a way to connect back to you.
Because as well as the book, you have a workbook.
Yes, that's my favorite part.
Name it.
Yes.
Do you think journaling? Because a lot of this is about journaling, going through, like you're talking about your family, talking about even trauma that you've been through.
Yes.
But do you think writing it down is really important?
Absolutely. There's a whole neurological effect that when you're actually writing it out, the nerve endings and that whole connection between brain and hand does wonders for your brain health. But also what it does, it's a way of what's all in here that sometimes can feel a bit overwhelming. When you see it on paper, it gives you a different perspective. And the book has journal prompts because my secret is I hate journaling. I never really journaled. I try, I never stop. I don't have those fancy journals. But when you give me a question, like, what did you learn about your own emotions? Or what were you taught about emotions in your own family? You're like, well, nobody's asked me that question.
Yeah.
So having a prompt and then to think about something maybe you've never thought about creates that bridge again to connect to yourself on a deeper level.
And Sylvia moved to a new country 3 years ago, and now tonight she's meeting her girls for a wine night, so she's making loads of connections.
Yes, lots of community.
And that's the whole point.
It's one thing as well, like wine night, because it's something I saw is what a lot of young people don't drink as much anymore. But actually the damage that you're doing to your body by having a few drinks, but together as a group is a lot less than the damage of you sitting at home on your own scrolling on your phone.
Tommy says, have a wine night, everybody.
Go, make the most out of it.
Or a mocktail night.
The mocktail
there
night.
You go.
Make it a pint. Go and enjoy yourself.
Sylvia Kalicinski, it's called Lonely AF, a therapist, no BS guide to feeling less alone. And she dressed in the colours of her book, which is just so nice. Sylvia, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much
for having me.
We really
appreciate it. Cheers.
Thank you. Very interesting, Sylvia.